Is my screen visible with everyone?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. So I'll move. Is the PPT visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. So, yes, going ahead, we'll discuss how a GD happens. So, most of us might have faced GDs at different levels in our journey, yet in our academic journey, or some of us are coming with uh, a background of work. So, in those interviews or in any college competitions, we might have faced a GD. So, we'll move from there and then we'll move towards how a GD happens and sum up, and then we have adapted it in our way so that we can utilize it, and then over the time we'll practice over the methodology and come improve from where we are currently. So going ahead, wait. Yes. Okay. So if you can see in the slide, there are six major roles that a person can be in a GD, and these roles are not like if someone is in a role or let's say role two, it's not like that the person is restricted to role two only. A person can have multiple roles. However, a person has to understand that he or she cannot have all the roles or so many roles that the person is there overshadowing everyone. So it should be like that. So the first is initiator. Okay, before going that, I would tell you about how does the thing happen in general GD. Most of us are knowing, but just a refresher. There would be a topic, there would be a question, there would be a problem statement. We would be shown, or we would it would be told to us by the moderators. Okay, there would be some time to think over that, prepare our notes, and then the GD happens. And then in some of the GDs, there is specific time for conclusion as a team, or conclusion to conclude individually. That's how mostly it happens. I guess every one of you are having your notepads and pen with you. So if not, please take them out and take down notes, because see, videos would be there, but if you would note down now, it would become a habit. So this is something that you should be doing throughout the season. Okay, going forward. So in the initiator role, the person who initiates the discussion, sums up the problem statement, gives his or her idea into that, and in a GD, usually we think that the person who enters first gets mark. No, it doesn't happen in B school like that. So if a person which enters into the if the person is an initiator, the person should be someone who understands the problem statement correctly and is not biased towards a way of answering something. Let's say, there is a there's a let's take a normal example. Um, Honest is the best policy, and we have to discuss on that. So the initiator should not present a statement like being honest would give you the good result always. So it's a biased thinking. Probably this sentence can come somewhere in between the discussion, but it should not be in the initiator part. Going forward, builder, there are many ways that the problem could be uh, answered, or the problem could be uh, addressed. A builder tries to take on the role of how the problem should be addressed. It would take the baton from initiator. He or she would take the baton from initiator, and the builder would try to give a logical or management tool into that. The most of us know about SWOT. Anyone who knows about SWOT, can you please tell me?
So,
Yes, please go ahead.
yes, so that is basically strength, weakness, and opportunities and threats analysis. It is done by each and every country and I'm so sorry, each and every companies, which basically means that we should be aware of our strengths, about our weaknesses, about the opportunities available in the market, and potential threats which we may face in the nearby future. So we should be
Yes.
this analysis done. Yeah.
Yes, great. So, can it be a tool to any question that is lying out there? Mm, let's suppose the question could be de-dollarization of of BRICS nation, right? So we can do sort analysis of that problem statement. It's just an example I'm trying to show over here. So there could be tools that a builder could suggest, and if your tool is good enough, it would give you good marks over there. We'll move ahead. Challenger. So once you are into, let's say, I'll take an example of 12 minutes GD. Once you are into 2.5 minutes, the part of initiator and builder goes away. Again, I'm repeating, there could be more than one builder, there could be more than one initiator, but refrain yourself from being the third initiator in any case, because it would sound like rhetoric, and you might not get a good mark even though you are giving good points over there. So around 2.5 minutes, it becomes the core of the GD, the challenger and defender thing. So there would be people who would be giving answers or points in a certain direction, and there would be people who would be giving points in another direction, and both of them could be right or wrong if we can put enough statements for or against the against the reasoning. So that's how it happens. So the mid part could be around 5 minutes in 12 minutes GD, and by that time challenger, defender, builder and initiator part would be done. um, Moving ahead, around 7.5 minutes, you have to understand that now it's the time to point out the major crux, major points where we could take a logical end to the discussion. That's where a synthesizer comes in. He or she points out the correct the path that the whole group has taken, the major points that should be going towards conclusion, and the points which could not be going towards the conclusion. The synthesizer has to understand that we should not go forward with that, and it would take around another 2 minutes. From there, the pardon, the role of summarizer comes in, where the summarizer, again, there could be two summarizers, as we talked about. There could be two initiators, but not in all the cases. The summarizer has to understand. Again, taking down points would help you from from for would help you from the role of challenger and defender to summarizer, because you have taken down the points, you have put in your points also during the discussion, then you will apply your point of view and then move towards being a summarizer. And you would you will try to talk it down in a story format, that this is the initiation, then what we had discussed in the uh, these points were discussed. However, the majority of the group understands that point xyz should be a valid reason, and why is it in that way. And then if there is a chunk, there are a chunk of people who are not agreeing with the majority either, you can also point that out. That's how the whole 12 minutes can go ahead. So that's the major idea of GD. Mm, uh, we'll pause here for any questions, and then we'll move ahead with more basic etiquettes, and then the third part would be if there are any uh, uh, pardon, if there are any doubts, and then we'll have a small GD with us.
Excuse
Yes.
me, sir.
Anyone?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes, please
Can
go
I
ahead.
ask? Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
yes.
I was not clear of the role of challenger and defender. Can you please reiterate it again? Challenger and
Okay.
defender. Thank you.
Sure. Sure. Okay. So challenger and defender mean a person. Yes, a person who would build the major chunk of the discussion. Okay, so I'll again take an example of de-dollarization of BRICS economies. Okay, there would be people who would talk in the favor. Okay, they would say it would enhance the role of uh, local economies. It would enhance the role of rupee into the economy of these five countries, or probably these 10 countries. But then there would be someone who would talk about how the new or upcoming president of US does not want that to happen. So that would be the rule. So that's how it would go through. If I'm able to clear you doubt, Harbans. Okay. Yes, Aditya, please go ahead.
So can you just explain the role of synthesizer once?
Yes. So synthesizer is someone who would take down the points that have been discussed, and then he or she would tell that these all points have been discussed. Not all the so he or she should not dis you know take away anything. He or she should tell that these all have been discussed, and going forward we can discuss on this and that. These are the things that are remaining. So
Okay, sir.
suppose there are, again I'll tell. So suppose there are 5 points that have been discussed, and then if you feel that there are two other points that could be discussed, that could be added over there. So as a synthesizer, you can mention those 5 points quickly, or three or four of them quickly, and then you can mention that you can also look at these 2 points. Yes. Anyone else?
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Welcome, Aditya.
Hello.
Yes, Priyanshu.
Uh, Hello, sir. Hemant here. Just I
Yes.
had a question. If you could please elaborate between the difference of synthesizer and summarizer, since synthesizer is talking about the last 4 points and adding some points of their own. So
Mhm.
after that, the summarizer is supposed to do what exactly?
So summarizer would tell the how the group feels about, or what the group's notion is about the whole discussion, right? And then among that, he or she would tell that these are the majority view, this is the minority view. However, synthesizer would try to carry on the discussion, and he or she would add new points over there. Hemant.
Understood, sir. So the synthesizer is sort of discussing the important points plus adding some of the remaining points that he or she might think there should be. And the summarizer is sort of trying to convey what the group now is at what expression the group is at right now, right?
Correct, Hemant.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Yes, Hardik.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I had a query regarding like there was a point where it is said that a summarizer and a leader, or rather an initiator, is given a preference on a credential basis. That if the panel, like, is it true that the panel chooses the summarizer by its own, or the summarizer has its own individuality and it chooses by itself?
So both of the things happen. There are times where the moderators would ask someone, or two people to summarize the whole discussion, or if you feel enough that there is time around, say 1 minute, 1 minute is remaining, or probably around 45 seconds are remaining, you could nominate, or you could take a proper entry over there, and then you can become a summarizer. Is that okay with you, Hardik?
Yes, sir.
Have
It's
I?
and sir, Also, one more thing, uh, like a summarizer, when it is chosen by a panelist or initiator, if it is chosen by a panelist, is there any credential extra brownie points given to them? Is it true or is it just a false thing?
No, it doesn't happen like that. In some of the, before, when I was appearing, or when I was at your stage, when I was preparing for my MBA preparation, so it was like I used to think the same way, but it doesn't happen like that. So please be assured. Don't worry about that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome, Hardik. All right. All right. So another set of etiquettes that I would talk with you is that, and I do not have PPT for that, so please better write them down. Uh, so the first thing is, you have to be an active listener to be an active speaker. You have to understand that a person who has come up with a good point, where does that point is coming from, and where does that point would lead the whole discussion. The second one is, there would be situation where you would not be knowing what the discussion is all about. You would not be knowing the subject matter. Don't worry. Okay, that's that's somewhere where you can become a summarizer, or you can become a synthesizer, and then you learn from others. At that juncture, it requires you to be a quick learner. You learn from others, try to apply your mind about the things that you know, and try to correlate with the thing, and come up with good number of entries, 2 to 3 entries. That would be enough. Okay, in a 12-minute GD. Yes, Vikas. Vikas, could you please mute yourself? Thank you. In a 12-minute GD, I'm taking a 12 minute of standard time. There could be 10, it could be 15, it might go to 20. So in a 12-minute GD of people of a group of around 8, most of the cases, most of the cases, there would be 4 people who would be talking mostly. There would be 2 people who would try to take entries, and there would be 2 people who would not be so good. We have to be there in those 4 people, right? I'm talking about the actual scenarios that might happen. There could be scenario that around all 8 of them or 7 of them are talking, but then we have to work hard, and we have to be there in the first 4. And then not all the 4 people, even though you are performing good, would go through or get good marks. For that, we have to make sure that we practice properly and follow the other etiquettes that are there. We have to get good marks through our speaking skill, presentation skill, and our knowledge also. Another point, that is something many of us would not agree with, but that's how we have seen through many years, and we have to accept that as a norm, or probably a norm in exception. When a female colleague or a female candidate is speaking, male candidates should not cut her in any form. We have to accept that, and we have to go with that. That's how the things are. Do we have any doubt till now? All right. Um, if there is a discussion, probably in the initial part, if someone is speaking and if you are also speaking, so probably 2 or 3 people will start speaking. Sometimes it happens. Try to uh, speak up to 8 to 10 seconds, and if the other person is not silenced, let the other person speak. Do not worry about that. A discussion is also about listening to others. And another thing, hand gesture should be minimum. Facial expression should be optimum. So if you agree with something, you nod your head politely. If you don't agree with something, you can just keep your head calm. Do not be like, क्या बोल रहा है ये? No. Okay. And do not use your hand everywhere. मैं बता रहा हूँ ना, सुनो सुनो. We are not going to do that. All right. Are we clear till here? I cannot see many of you switching on your camera. This is the first step that we should be following. I would not take names today, but we should be doing that. All right. I'll take. Uh, so Harbans is saying we have to be in the first four best candidates. Yes, yes, Harbans. So while in PCP, don't worry about that. But this is something you have to keep in mind while going into the actual process. Yes. All right. All right. So we'll move to a practice. Everyone, those who want, we need a few volunteer.
Sir, I wanted to ask a doubt. Like, sorry to
Yes,
interrupt.
Aditya, please go ahead.
So, like, sometimes it happens that, like, a person starts talking. As you said, we shouldn't cut a female candidate, okay, fellow candidate. But sometimes it happens that a person keeps on talking and, stretching his or her point. And as you know, we don't have that much time to let them like continue. So, should we interrupt, or like, how
Mhm.
should we handle this situation?
So it happens sometimes. It would have also happened during the practice session. So the moderator understands that one person has been going on continuously, and in many cases the moderator would extend the time from 8 minutes or say 12 minutes to 30 minutes or 40 minutes at his or her own end. So don't worry about that. Okay. Even if the person goes on continuously speaking, the person is attracting negative marks. Okay. And another thing that you can do is you can interrupt politely. Let's say Ankit is speaking continuously. So you can interrupt politely. Ankit, I think you take name of another colleague, another group person. Ankit, I think Gaurav has a point over here, and we would like that. We would like Gaurav to keep his point over here. So that's how you can go ahead, but don't
So,
take that slot for yourself. It would no, it would not look good. But if you'll take the slot and give it to someone, that would be better. Just Puneet.
Like you told, we shouldn't cut the fellow in between when she is speaking. What should we do if this happens with a male candidate and some female candidate tries to rush in with her argument? I know that will look bad on her part, but like when I am speaking and my point is not over yet, so what should the male candidate do?
You can speak, you can complete your point by saying, let's say Ankita is trying to cut you. You can say, Ankita, please let me complete my statement. You complete your statement politely, and then give the baton to Ankita. You should be like, Ankita, you are saying something, please go ahead. Is it okay, Puneet?
Yeah, like it happens with me so many times that some female candidates tries to rush in and out of respect or out of some hesitation, I don't know. I give them the chance, like I don't fight for that.
How about a male candidate rushes in and he is very good. He is
Yeah,
coming up with a good
like it is
point.
in my nature that I don't try to like I lower my voice and then the argument from my side ends.
So it is so uh, Tanisha is messaging, it feels rude to interrupt. So yes, Tanisha, it feels rude to interrupt. And again, yes, Puneet, so don't worry about that. That's why we are here to practice. Don't worry about that. You will learn about it eventually, how to carry on with your statement. And end of the day, you have to fight for yourself. So yes, you have to complete your statement by asking the other person politely. Yes, we'll move ahead. Harbans, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I have a question. For example, over speaking and not letting our group mates speak is a negative sign. So, how much, like, how many points should we make? How many of them are optimal? Because we give, you know, the leeway to our group mates also.
3 to 4 points are more than enough in any group discussion of 12 to 15 minutes. And it's if it's up to 10 minutes, 2 to 3 points. And
Okay, sir.
then we have to make sure that all those points are good and we are standing out. We are not
Okay.
repeating someone else's point.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Yes, Yash.
Uh, Good evening, sir.
Good
So,
evening.
sir, my question is that for some people, like myself, at times when I am talking, my volume goes up, my tonality changes, and it seems like I'm being aggressive, which I am not. It's just that it's that how I normally talk. So the people who know me, they know that he's not being aggressive. That's how he talks. But for people who are new to me or some stranger, it might seem that I am being aggressive. So how to tackle such a situation in a group discussion where even if I try to keep my volume at a normal pitch, keep my tonality like good, which like according to other listeners, but during the argument, it's a 12 to 20 minutes argument, sorry, discussion. Uh, there might come a point where I'm not realizing I'm in that conversation. I'm trying to put my point. My volume might go up. My point might come out as aggressive. How to deal in such situation?
Yes, yes. So don't worry. It might happen. It happens with many of us. So in a 15 minutes discussion, as we had while addressing the other question, in a 15-minute discussion, let's say you would take around 4 to 5 entries, right? Of around 30 seconds or probably 45 seconds on an average, right? So 5 into 45 seconds, how many minutes? 2 minutes and 25 seconds. We can be polite for 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Let's not worry about that. Okay. So we have to practice. Let's not flow into that. After speaking every point in the notepad, you should write, be calm. It's just a very normal way to write that while taking, while expressing your another point, while you will be looking at your notepad or whatever, you will be jotting down the points from other candidates. You would look at that thing, be calm, and then you'll understand that you have to be calm while expressing. It would be there for around 2 to 3 sessions, and in probably with fourth and fifth session, it would be in your muscle memory. So don't worry about that, Yash. With practice, it would go away.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Yes, Vikash, please go ahead.
Hello, sir. I am audible. Am I audible?
Yes, Vikash.
Oh, so recently I had an experience of GD in which I had two observations, and based on that, I had two questions. So the GD in which I went, the the panel had this rule called raising hand for the initiator, and then from the initiator, no one could speak out randomly. Instead, they followed a clockwise order for the subsequent comments. So I wanted to know if there is such kind of a rule in any case of UDP in GD, wherein you don't have the liberty to speak at your will, but you have to wait for a fixed order.
Okay, Vikash. So just a question. May I know at which place this happened? Because it has happened with me once. So I'll also tell where did it
So
happen.
I was representing my college at Times of India organized event. I'm talking about my city, Surat.
Okay, great. So yes, so I'll tell you. I'll tell you where did it happen with me. It happened with me during my UG days in an interview with Tata Steel Utilities, where I worked eventually. So in Tata's they have a TAS, and in TAS they have a chairman's GD, where one person is a chairman for that round of GD, and then the whole group becomes the board members. Okay. uh, in in chairman's GD, what happens? A person is when a person is moderator, the other group members become so they follow a clockwise or anti-clockwise pattern, whatever the day or the moderators are asking you to do. It happens there. It might happen in another GD also. So if you are in such position, you have to be quick thinker, probably because you then in that case you might be the first one to speak. So you have to be a quick thinker. The initiating 2 minutes or the thinking point time you have to think uh, quickly. You have to jot down 2 or 3 points, make coherent 2 or 3 sentences, and then you have to move ahead. Then another thing might happen, that whatever you have thought, someone else might have thought by that time and might have delivered. So in that case, if someone, again, you have to come up with another quick points. Rather than being a summarizer at the initiation point, you have to think quickly. So you have to adopt accordingly, Akash.
So I had one more question, if I may.
Yes, yes, please.
So in the same GD, we had, here we had, you talked about how to manage if someone's not letting others speak. But at the end, during summarizing, when we had an open session, everyone like jumped in as if it was a debate, and it was a completely mad rush. So how do we manage chaos at that point?
So if there is a chaos, the best way is to be silent, observe others, and then look. You should start observing someone who is coming up with a good point, or his or her way of delivery is good. That's all we can do, and wait for the chaos to settle down, and from there you can pick up.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Welcome, Vikas.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes, Snehthara, please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, good evening.
Good evening, Snehthara.
Yeah, sir. So my question is, if the GD topic just come out of the blue and I don't have any knowledge or any idea about the uh, topic, then what should I do in that situation?
Yes, your name is Snehadra, right?
Nehadra, yes, sir.
Yes, pardon me for mispronouncing it earlier. Okay,
Uh,
Snehadra, as I mentioned it earlier, that there might be a topic that you would not be knowing at all. So in that case, you have to understand what others are speaking. You have to correlate with the existing knowledge, jot down those points, and then you can be in a role of synthesizer. You can make two entries towards around 60 to 80% of the whole discussion. And if by that time, if you have learned enough, you can be a summarizer where you can attract points. That's all.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
And another way to to make sure that this doesn't happen is to read newspapers, and that's and try to build your own thinking process rather than abstract knowledge. So these two things are there that we all should do. In fact, it's not you, just everyone who's present here in the meeting should do like that. Read
Yes.
financial newspapers or good English newspaper and try to make his or her own thinking process towards the major, at least business things or economy related news that are going on.
Okay, sir.
uh, yes.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
Atharva. Welcome. Yes,
Yes,
Atharva,
hi.
please go ahead.
Yes, so my question was basically what is the effect of biased answers in GD? Like if you have a particular bias and knowingly or unknowingly you make a biased point. So what effect does it make on the entire discussion and your image?
That's when writing down, jotting down points help you. You would write down and then you'll probably read it quickly in your mind before actually giving out the statement. And then you will understand that if this is bias or not.
Okay.
So that's how
And
you and go
And
ahead.
so if someone else has made a biased answer, and I can judge that he has made a biased point, so is it wise to point it out, or should we just let it be?
No, no, you should not point it out. And if you feel that rather than being biased, if it's wrong, what you can do that one of our group panel members had suggested that point X, Y, Z should be addressed in certain way. You should go ahead by. I think rather than this, we can also do this, this, and that. So
Okay, so okay, thank you.
yes, yes, Divyanshu, please go ahead.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, Divyanshu.
Okay. Hi, sir. So my question was, I'll take your example. You said de-dollarization of BRICS. So if I'm trying to challenge a particular point, I'm assuming that you're not supposed to jump out of your chair and challenge because then it defeats the purpose of a GD. But let's just say that someone made a point with regards to it being a good move. Let's just say that very basic terms, and then I have to come up with the point that okay, but like let's assume that we are all are we given like a setup that let's for this conversation assume that it's an Indian company's board or like someone who's a stakeholder in the Indian government, so we would also want to put in a point that okay, de-dollarization is a good step, but then it strengthens the Chinese yen, which actually is a problem to us again. So something on those lines means that we would have to pick up that point as well. But up till my question is up till what limit can we actually challenge a point, and at what point should we let it go that someone else, whatever someone else is saying, does not make any sense, and then because at the end of the day I also need to make a point that gets me some marks, but at the same point not disagreeing to a limit where it turns into a debate and not a GD. So not really sure how that would happen.
All right. So any day it is not going to turn into a debate. So there might be instances that people would be like the people would be outrightly saying that you are wrong, but in another cases it would not become debate because that's not there is not enough time to that, and then you have to be individual person playing for the team. Okay, you have to understand where the team is going. You have to mend your points accordingly. And then if someone is poles apart from you, don't worry about that. Even if the group is totally poles apart from you, don't worry about that. You keep your points politely and calmly. If your points are valid enough, you would attract good marks. Don't worry about that. And then your point would be the minority view. However, if it's correct, it would be accepted.
So it's also, sorry, can I cross question? It's
Yes,
also
please.
it's also a good idea to be the devil's advocate. For example, if you're saying that honesty is the best policy, then bringing up a point where honesty maybe not the best idea would also attract good marks in that sense.
No, 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 no. In
Okay.
that case, I would highly recommend don't be a devil's advocate.
So going with the entire discussion of the entire panel is more important than putting up like a unique point of view.
Yes, you can put up your unique point of view. That's always a good thing. But end of the day, you should be a team player. Okay, you should not go ahead disagreeing with everyone. You should be there putting up your point. Okay, is it okay
Correct.
with you,
Thank you, sir.
Divyanshu?
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Yes. So before going ahead, Anurag has asked if we do not know about the topic and we are the first chair. So you summarize the question or the problem statement, and then you conclude it like, "I would like the group to go ahead and take up the discussion." In such a way, you can complete your beginning statement. Yes, Hemant, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Just considering a hypothetical situation where let's assume that we have got a topic which is very familiar to us, so we might be tempted to, take up more than one roles, or maybe three or four, even three or four as well. So, what would you say would be the cap at how many roles we should be, get ourselves in a discussion such as which is familiar?
Around two to three. Three is the highest.
Okay, three roles, sir. Thank you.
Yes. So I'll take the questions from comments and then we'll move ahead. While going into the sessions, the questions would be addressed. Let's not worry about that. Uh, if not today, then another practice sessions. Yes. If we do not know, so we have addressed this one. So isn't POV always biased? Yes, POV is always biased, but then you keep your points in such a way that you are not taking an extreme side. Can we challenge the defender as an initiator? Yes, you can do that. You can do that if you have valid points. Cheat list. All right. Sir, which of the top D schools conduct GD? Okay, so XLRI conducts GD, SIBM conducts GD. Then you have a group interview for SPGen, as we know. So there are colleges which conduct GD. Uh, MDI, as Mohit has answered, yes, those are the colleges. SMHRD also conducts GD. Yes. Do we have option to become whatever we want? Yes, Kef, you can become whatever we can become whatever we wish to, but then mm, so but then you have to understand, as per your skill set, as per your knowledge, you have to position yourself among those roles. All right, we'll move ahead. We'll move ahead with a sample GD. It is a tough question, so but I need a few enthusiastic volunteers. Please type your name in the chat box. First six people would get a chance to participate today. All right, all right, all right. We have enough names, I guess. Okay, please stop typing your names. We have enough volunteers. Thank you, everyone. Uh, the names which I would be calling, please raise your hand. So, please raise your hand virtually so that everyone is able to see you. Hemant, Divyanshu, Ansh, Atharva, Harbans, Nikhil. Yes, we have six people. All right, great. So I'll move to the. I'll again share my screen and then we'll move ahead. Is it visible? Is my screen visible? Anyone, please
Yes.
tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So please read the instruction. Everyone should read the instruction.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, like we are not there in this group of six, but at the end, if we have anything like some points, can we also say, like after everyone has done, after the
Uh,
time?
for today, I would like you to be a good observer. Okay.
Oh, okay,
So okay,
cool.
and yes, if you want to add anything regarding the topic, I would ask you to refrain from that. However, if you have anything to add regarding the GD and the etiquettes that if someone has not followed, okay, so you can mention it at the end. That those are welcome. So 10 minutes is for GD. In those 10 minutes, you have to conclude, right? Everyone has to conclude. The remaining 5 minutes after those 10 minutes would be there for self introspection of the group, right? Is it clear with everyone?
Apologies. So, I'm not sure about right now, but in general, is a timer available to everyone? Like, can everyone see, or are we supposed to keep track of time on our own?
That's a good question. We have to keep time of our own.
Right.
Yes.
So, like in person, that would be difficult because right now on the screen I can see the time, but in person, I'm assuming that people tend to forget that the GD is about to end.
We all have phones. We can have.
In person as well, we can. No, of course, we can
Acha,
check.
so you are talking about in-person GDs, right?
Correct.
That's something you have to take a wristwatch with you, a normal wristwatch, if you can. Don't go tomorrow to Titan and buy a new one if you have any, if you have one with you, or you can borrow with someone. All right, we have to keep time. That's very much important. You or anyone should not get into the flow. You have to be into the mud, I would say. So that's important. Uh, okay. So are the instructions clear with everyone here? All the six participants, if we have any doubt.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
We'll move to the problem statement for 2 minutes. All right, group, you may start discussion.
All right, everyone. So I think it's fine if I start, right?
Yes.
So I think that the question to be addressed um, of course, as the evidence suggested, neuromarketing is working, but I think what we need to focus on is it ethically correct, and at the same time, is it a fair business proposal, a fair business idea, considering that it is definitely something that would require extensive research and is very expensive. So, up till what level can we consider it to be safe? At the same time, I think that data collected with such research would also be considered very sensitive medical data. So this could also be a shortcoming of the same because sensitive medical data can be used for other purposes as well. So with it being a new concept and there being no regulations around it, that is the direction in which the discussion should go, in my opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Divyanshu because this can be used in unfair practices. Also, we can, influence people in buying some things which are not necessary, like they want. Also, in my opinion, like they should be regulated, and we have more discussions and rules and regulation about neuromarketing, as people can be addictive to some products and they like don't want it, and it can lead to various problems according to me.
I may make a point. I too agree with both of the panelists here. Neuromarketing is being extensively used for understanding the consumer behavior. I've also read one study which suggests that the neuroscientists study that how do we impart the marketing things in the dreams of the people. So they are more demanded by the people. So what I think, in my opinion, that we have to understand whether it's ethical or not, but we have to form some regulations which are legal in nature, so it is not used in a bad manner in future.
Audible? Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, as we have seen in the past studies that have been conducted, initially it was just based on the people's reactions that were recorded. For example, it was about the pupil dilation. But now the study has been moved further and people's brain activity has been measured throughout the years. Now, this could be ambiguous, the data could be ambiguous as we know. Reactions could be of multiple types. If a person may not likes the product at certain level, whereas he dislikes it at some level. The reactions could be reactions would vary, and it might be like hard to catch up on. Thank you.
I would also like to add a point that we should have regulations because marketing has some challenges, but it can be also helpful so that uh, a person can get a product which he also needs.
Yes, I
Another
agree with Ansha's points. Basically, there are many products which are like very underpopular, which are helpful to many of the consumers, specifically in the medical sector, which can be made much more popularized and can help the actual needy people or the patients to get to know about those products via neuromarketing. Because in general, what has been seen is neuromarketing is providing better results in some sectors in terms of overall improving the reach of that product.
what would I like to point out is the data that would be collected. It is more important on what type of people it has been. Uh, the study has been done on what kind of people. There could be people belonging to different class. For us, suppose a lower class, a middle class, and upper class. Now, the people from upper class would actually like to buy or maybe attracted to the ad of a expensive product compared to people who are in the lower class or middle class range. This might create a disturbance in the data.
So I think that moving ahead, we've gotten points that it would be helpful in some sectors, but at the same time, I think everyone agrees to the fact that this data is prone to misuse and regulations around it definitely need to be there. At the same time, I would also like to add in a point wherein I think that having such sensitive data about how people's brains react to, let's say, a certain kind of marketing technique would also mean that there is more data available to influence people in order to, let's say, get into illegal activities or activities that are not really helpful for them. For example, we all know that even though smoking is highly popular in any country around the world, but it is a globally accepted fact that it is not good for you and harmful for you. So, for example, brands like let's say a brand that sells cigarettes ends up conducting a huge neuromarketing study and ends up finding ways on how to promote cigarettes better, that would not really be a very good step for the entire world. Rather, there should be some regulation against it. So I think that is what discussion should be focusing on after this point. Thank you.
Yeah, regulations are definitely needed. I think this is exactly the answer to the question that the address was referring to originally. It was actually referring to how neuromarketing would be pivoting again. So I think this is the pivot that neuromarketing needs, because the question is not if neuromarketing will be coming back or not, because it's already here and it's already extensively used, as we have discussed. It has been so extensively used that we are already now worried about its misuse, because such a large amount of database has already been connected. So the question is not if it's going to be used or not. The question is how can it pivot in itself. So regulations will certainly help. Regulations in such a way. Now, neuromarketing can also be a double-edged sword, as in smoking, it would be making the bad worse and the good better. So we'll have to configure some regulations that will help out in using it in a limited way.
Yeah, another point would be going for neuromarketing would be for the companies, big organizations, or maybe even the small ones. The companies would be doing actual target marketing. They would understand their audience much better. They can utilize their finances much better way and focus on what they want to develop. And obviously, we need regulations around that. Uh, uh, unless and until these regulations are all around, I think it is pivotal.
Okay, so if we have to end our discussion here because we have made very tremendous points, I would like to summarize the GD because we are done with the time. So the discussion started with whether neuromarketing is ethical or not, and how can we, take regulations on that. So the first point was that was discussed is that the neuromarketing has also taken place in dream analysis of the people, how to impart the marketing, the dreams of the people. Then we discussed that we have to discuss the composition of the people that is being studied and the data is being made upon. And then the third point that we made is that it can also be a very helpful device for educating the consumers of the various goods that are actually needed by them, but they are unaware of. And the last point that we made is that even though the data can influence the people in a very bad manner, the regulations are must, and we must impose the regulations so that it is not misused. So in the end, I could summarize in this way that neuromarketing is just a device, and we have to make sure we use it in a very efficient and a very ethical manner. Thank you.
Adding a bit to those points, tremendous points. Totally agreed with them. And since we were discussing so much on the regulations, I would like to add just a bit 2 points that let's say on the regulations front, since we all already agree that this has been extensively used and to a point where it is a little inhumanitarian right now. So I think the big companies, since it also benefits to them, we should also make them. Make these environments where specific consent is taken from the people that get experimented on, and also these marketing stunts should not be forced upon people. There should be special places where we people as consumers can agree to get into and be exposed to these elements. So those could be some good regulations. Thank you.
All
Thank you
right,
for your
group.
points.
All right, group. So the discussion ends, and now it is the duty of the group. It is the duty of the group to do a self introspection of 5 minutes, and then I'll come in and then we'll talk about other aspects. Please go ahead.
Okay, I think it went well. We didn't end up fighting, so that's a win for sure.
Yes, we also, inculcated all the points like for the pros of the, neuromarketing and also the cons of the neuromarketing.
And the one thing that was very good for in this GD is that we were solution oriented. We didn't focus more on the problem, but we focused on how do we solve this problem. And what was
That,
the major point we have to
I,
understand in
I
this?
think that was the question itself. I think
Yeah.
someone just mentioned in the chat as well that this was not something that someone would have rebutted per se, because you can't really go up and say it's very good, let it happen like it is. Regulation was a must. Very obvious points in that sense, I think.
I would like
Yes.
to add just one point that we may have touched additionally upon the area where we can see neuromarketing progressing faster. We missed that point a bit, but yeah, otherwise everyone's points were quite good.
Yeah, I think so.
The best part of the GD, I think, was everyone had their own set of ideas and they were put up like very nicely. And most of them were somewhat like we all agreed on. And I think that was the best part of
Yeah, but I think that also means that out of the six processes, the challenger part was missing. But I also think that there was nothing per se to challenge, so that point, I think we can leave that out.
I think we could have challenged the possibility of regulating overall use of neuromarketing because it is quite difficult to regulate how it can be
Yeah,
used
correct, correct.
and how.
Oh, yes, surely. We have definitely challenged the neuromarketing topic itself, I think, in a very subtle way. And apart from that, I think we were quite cohesive. So kudos to that.
Also, we could have discussed about the role of AI and also the digital marketing like techniques which company use to influence us.
that would be
Yeah.
like going away from the point of neuromarketing.
No, but I think he means we could draw a parallel between how those kinds of marketing techniques are already leading us, or let's say the general public, to make decisions that they don't really want to. So neuromarketing would take it a step further. I think so. Maybe we could have, but even though we didn't, I think that staying inside the particular domain, we did pretty well.
All
So
right.
I think
Uh,
yes, thank you.
yes, Divyanshu. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Um, I purposefully gave a very, not so common topic because today's focus is more on how to behave in a GD, not to talk. So subject matter was something that I was not looking today. To be very frank, not at all, because it's our first meeting. Over the time we'll understand what is the importance of subject, get into more of that in a GD. If it's or even if they are talking about Tom and Jerry, how ahead. And
Excuse me,
because I'm
sir.
not able to see you
Sorry,
if you are
sir.
speaking.
You
Yes,
lack you.
Harbans, Divyanshu, and Himant have raised other.
Excuse me, sir. Actually, there was a
Yes,
network issue. Can you please repeat the words that you've said
yes. Where was I? Where was I?
So
The
from the
very
start, sir.
beginning.
from the beginning? Yeah.
Okay, pardon me. Yes. So what I was saying, that today's agenda was not about the subject matter. Today's agenda was about how to conduct ourselves in a GD, and then how to present our points rather than the exact subject or exact topic. Okay, so that's why I gave a very atypical thing, so that the major focus should be towards how does a GD goes through, how does it, the wave is there. And then if we understand the point that how a GD should be there, how those 10 or 12 or 15 minutes should be there, we would eventually understand and put our points. And for that we have to read continuously to make good points, right? Going ahead, so I was not impressed with today's performance of our group. We have to work a lot hard. Okay, so to begin with, we had a 8 to 10 seconds pause before starting. When the moderator asks you to start, you have to start. Don't look for others to start. Okay. um, and then there were positions where pauses were there. We should not be doing that. I answer it is the first session, or it is the first mock session, so it would happen. So let's not worry about it, but that's something we have to work on it. Um, I could see many of you in different roles, and I really liked how you are a quick learner. Most of you are quick learner, and then you learned that which role I should be playing at which juncture of the group discussion. I would not take names today, but I could see people being initiator, synthesizer, summarizer one, and summarizer two. So kudos to all of you. Good job over there. Uh, there were people. Uh, uh, Divyanshu, we should not be making that big opening. Your opening was around 80 seconds. So 45 is optimum. 45 seconds to 1 minute. That's something we have to work on it. Hmm. Going ahead, there were good points.
Sorry, sir.
Uh,
Sorry, but did I over-explain, or was it repetitive, or was it too long in general?
Too long in general.
Okay.
You didn't. So your explanation was good. You were not repetitive, but it was a bit longer.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Mm, uh, again, yes, I can see a few people making around 4 points. That was good, and even we had someone which came in late into the discussion, but made 3 points, 2 points, and the summary. So that is something that is good. If I think that's what we should be doing in a case where we do not know much or we have less knowledge. So that's how we have to adopt into the discussion. People were keeping time, so that is also good. Yes, that's all the major points that I have observed. I'm not getting into individual feedbacks. We will get into individual feedbacks during the actual practice sessions. So don't worry about that. That's it from my side for the discussion. Uh, you guys, please, if you have any doubts, if you want to add anything,
Can
please
I
go ahead.
can I ask a question first? Is it okay?
Yes, Divyanshu.
Uh,
Yes.
so so as you said, it was a very atypical topic. So let's just say that we were trying and staying restricted to the particular matter at hand. And I think that is why we didn't even complete. I think it was close to 9 minutes, not even 10 full minutes, as in everyone was speaking. And we could see that all of us are running out of content because at the end it became a little repetitive before the summary started. So how far beyond the topic are we allowed to go while discussing, maybe trying to draw some parallels or something?
So if you draw a parallel into something which is into the news, right, and which is something into the trend also, so that is something that is very easy to do, and uh, that would help you in eating up the time, if eating up is the correct word to use here. um, and then there is no correct answer to that if you would ask me how far we can go, but these two are these are the two things that we can follow into.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Yes, Divyanshu.
Excuse
Yes,
me, sir.
anybody?
Hi, sir.
Yes, Arun.
I have a doubt. Is it okay for an initiator to direct the JD in a one direction to favor himself or herself, or completely disregard the group?
See, end of the day, it would not happen if you are if the group wants to take the discussion into a different direction, the group would take into that direction. So what you can do is that you can give your point and then say that I want the so I would like the group to adopt let's say alpha, beta, and gamma points, so that we can go ahead, right? So what you can do is give a direction from your end, a gentle push from your end, and then wait for the discussion to unfold. It might happen that the first two people would be in the same direction, and then the rest remaining six people, when they take their entries, the whole discussion would go into different direction. But it happens particularly in those GDs which are very open ended. So in those cases, the point where the GD would start and the point where GD would end, and the whole traverse would be totally different. So you cannot push the whole discussion into one direction. It is not possible for one person.
Excuse me, sir. I have a doubt. If I may.
Yes, Harvans. Yes.
So, for example, in this GD, yes, I experienced pauses. I saw pauses. So, how do we fill that? Should we initiate to fill that pause, or should, if we don't have any points, so we should keep mum?
If you don't have points, you should keep mum. But if the whole group is mum, then it is your duty to pitch in, come up with new points. There is no alternate to that, right?
Okay, sir. I'll
Don't
build
don't
them.
be repetitive. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Yes, Kaif.
Sir, if we don't know about the topic and we are being a summarizer, then those 1 to 2 points will be enough for the GDP. Like if we don't know, then we just got 1 to 2 points during summarizing.
You can do that. You can do that. But then again, in summarizing, you talk about what the whole group has talked about before coming to the summarizing position. So
Oh,
it would be better. And then if you want, if you have 1 or 2 points, take entry in between somewhere in the discussion in the core part.
okay.
Yes. Yes, Nikhil.
Hello. Yeah, so if there are long pauses in between, like if I can, is it wise enough to jump from one role to another? If I'm a challenger, can I jump to a role of a defender or maybe a synthesizer?
You can jump into roles, right? There is it's not an issue, but don't be present at all the roles first. Second, don't change your point of view drastically.
Oh,
Don't go poles apart.
okay.
Yes. Yes, Athar.
So I had two questions. Firstly, uh, was the approach that we took to discussion correct? Because the understanding that we had about like that I had about the given topic was slightly different than what we had discussion on. So was the approach correct? Firstly,
Athar will not talk about subject matter today. Don't
so,
worry about it.
and the second question I had also basically I was a bit hesitant to uh, become a challenger because everyone else was agreeing to the points about the regulations. So should and one more point. So should I have should I have challenged that or should I have been uh, silent as I stayed?
No, you should keep your point of view.
But
Don't
so
worry.
everyone else was agreeing. So wouldn't that be odd?
So what you can do is say that if so, these are the points, but then this is also one of the way to look into it. You should keep on talking your point. Don't worry about it. And then what you can do is you can also become you should also get into the role of someone who concludes or pre-conclusion. You know, you uh, you keep the majority view and you also keep the minority view in a pre-conclusion role. Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, Tanvi.
Huh. Sir, in this particular GD, the Vyanshu or the initiator first dived headfirst into the questions or like the several directions in which the GD could proceed. So, should we, is it okay to go into this direction or should we first like give a brief introduction of the topic? Because that didn't happen in this particular GD. Like, first, we should introduce the neuromarketing or what the actual topic is about rather than directly proceeding into the questions.
Yes. So that is a good way to proceed. if you have knowledge to the topic, and then if you want to go ahead with that. But you should be the first or the second speaker to do that, because by the time third or fourth speaker comes in, you are into the whole discussion. So your point would not be, valid at that juncture. It is a good point, it is correct point, but it would not suit the juncture.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yes. I'll take a question from the chat. Kshitij is asking, sir, do we get a small explanation of the topic in the real GD as well? Sometimes there are moderators who would ask that do you need anything to support your arguments before starting the GD. Sometimes you don't. But if the moderator asks that, if you need and if you really need, you can go ahead and ask. No problem to that. Harsha Patil is asking, sir, can it be open-ended? Yes, open-ended topics could be asked. Can we change side in GD? Vaibhav Jan. Vaibhav, it is not suggested to do that. If anyone is doing that, that person would be highlighted in the discussion. So it would be better not to do that. Yes, Vikash, please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Sir, in this, it is not a subject-related question, but maybe bit. So, this I had this observation that there were certain positive points which were quite missing. Like most of the people were against it, with only glimpses of positivity. So, my question is that if I observe in the GD that certain specific points are missing, so can I add fresh points which I believe are important but have not been mentioned towards the end of the discussion, like pre-summary or summary?
You can do that. Pre-summary would be a good position to add those points.
Okay.
Yes. In summary, if you are summarizing it quickly and if you have enough space to add in your point, you can do that. But don't stretch it. Don't make it like that you want the whole show to end it at your point. Okay.
All right, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can I
Yes,
just
please.
add a follow-up question to that?
Yes, Atharu.
Yeah, so if someone has already started summarizing and if we notice that there are points missing that we have noted down, so should we mention it by interrupting him or after his summary is completed?
You could be the second summarizer if the time allows, and if the panelists are not interrupting or not asking to end it over there. You can do that.
Okay.
Yes, Priyanshu, please go ahead.
So my doubt was, as you mentioned that in GD we mostly have eight people group, and on an average the time for GD will be like 10 to 12 minutes. So like it will be like 90 seconds to 75 seconds per person we have to say. So I was asking that should we split that 30 seconds into three times and we say three times our points, or like 45 seconds and we speak twice our points?
So it's up to you first, if you want to split it like that, and if you have enough points. If you have 3 points, you can do it like that. If you have 2 points, you can do it like in 45 seconds. However, in the actual situation, there would be some people who would not speak too much. You have to take their
Okay.
time as your own. You have to
Got it.
you have to be attentive accordingly. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yes, Yash.
Yes, sir. So, suppose in the discussion, someone says a point like a recent study shows, or a recent study says, and they continue to like say their point, and I somewhat disagree with what they are saying. Should I ask them the source of their information, or like which study was that, or should I avoid such questions so that it doesn't become a debate slash argument?
Yes. So you have answered yourself. You should not debate the person. You should debate the idea. Right. So let's not get into that direction कि ए तुमने कहाँ पढ़ लिया ये मैंने तो ये नहीं देखा कहीं है ना ऐसा नहीं करना है. Okay. Yes, Puneet, please go ahead.
Sir, actually, I have written my point in the chat also. I'll just repeat that. Like
Yes.
for this topic, we noticed that the heading was neuromarketing may pivot again, but we've seen that some other points were also introduced with the initiation of the GD, and so should we just stick to the like we should just imply that this is the problem statement, the heading was the problem, or should we keep on adding the points as the initiator?
Uh, then you have to watch the time, right? If the time allows, you can do that, but then don't overstretch it, because you have to keep the points for other entries also. Yes, Punit, am I clear?
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. We'll take a few questions from the chat and then we'll move ahead. Is it okay to say, is it Rohan, pardon, Rohit is asking, is it okay to say in the starting that I would like to add 2 points such that there will be no pauses in the GD? No, 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 no. Let the points come in at the time where they should be, right? Don't hurry into the discussion. If you have points, keep them handy. You can also use it in the conclusion if time allows. So, can we ask by ourselves to moderator for brief on the topic if you do not understand it at the first go? Nachiket, in most of the cases, the moderator is good enough, humble enough to answer your question. Sometimes they could be rude, or that grumpy professor is over there. But in most of the cases, this would be a good practice, but don't generalize it, right? So that's how our approach should be. Kaif, can we mention something that is controversial? No, do not do that. Professors do not like that. They are very clear people. Uh, if they see it black, they'll call it black. If they see it white, they'll call it white. They don't work in checkered way. That's how the professors are, at least till the time I was there in college. So uh, let's not get into controversial topics. Puneet, okay, so we have taken the question. Sabil is asking, if we don't understand the other person's points in the GD, can we directly question what do they mean? No, no, no. That would sound rude. Rather, you can say that I think you mentioned about Sachin playing well. So, are you talking about Sachin batting well? So, that's how you can ask. Rephrase their point and then mention it. However, there won't be too much time for you to do this. Rather, you should concentrate at your point. Be a individual player playing for the team. Okay. Amal is asking. Amal, please go ahead.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, Amal.
Sir, my question, like I heard this all GD, so I'm not able to get because initially when you were explaining, you told that you have to be a team player. So are we competing among these people, or are we, or is it a team and we are exchanging our ideas? Is it?
We are competing in the team. We are competing in the team.
So it is not necessary, right, to be a team player and to take everybody's view. Like if I have a different view, then I can put it bluntly.
Yes, yes, yes. You can put it like that.
Hmm.
But again, don't go extreme, right? And don't be someone who is try to take a moderate path. Amal. So see, this is something that moment, those 12 minutes would decide, those 15 minutes would decide, or the topic would decide. But what our approach should be, that we have to go with the majority. You know, that's how the notion would be built. Don't go totally extreme. That's my suggestion. Is it okay, Amal? And then being a team player doesn't mean that you cannot have your own totally independent opinion. always be there. Okay, I think I've answered. Okay, all right. Do we have anything else to add here?
So sorry, sir, I got
No.
disconnected.
Now, yes, Amal, were you able to hear me?
Sir, actually, I was not able to hear you.
Okay, no worries. So what I am saying that we have to make sure that we do not take extreme paths, right? And everything would most of the things when either we go extreme or not would depend on those 12 minutes or 15 minutes. And then for that we have to practice accordingly, make sure that we go in a coherence of the group. It's always good to have independent opinion, so do not worry about that. But going in that group helps you build a consensus, and that makes you a better team player, right? That's how our approach should be.
Okay, sir, got it.
Yes, all right. So if we do not have much to add, anybody else? All right, then we'll conclude the session here. It was nice interacting with all of you. We'll have many sessions in the coming season, many converts for all of us. All the best, everyone. Merry Christmas and greetings for the season. All the best. Bye. Good night.
Yeah. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone.